All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of Finance and Corporate Services Committee. We'll get right into it. Could I get a mover for the consent items? Moved by Councillor Ioannidis. Any issues or questions on the consent? Not seeing any. Those in favor? You're appearing now. Okay, Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question about 3.3 and one about 3.6, please.
Sorry, can you repeat which of those items?
3.3
Yeah.
and 3.6.
3.3 and 3.6. Okay, the drinking water quality management and the neighborhood association affiliation. So Councillor Chapman's moved those out for discussion. That requires a vote. Those in favor? Oh, sorry, Councillor Michaud.
I have some questions around 5.1.
5.1 is a discussion.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem. Sorry, and again, so we're moving those two items out. I need a vote. Those in favor? And that carries unanimously. Councillor Chapman, when you're ready.
Yeah, I'll go with 3.3 first, and the neighborhood affiliation, association affiliation report. My question is, I don't know, are you coming down? So when the affiliation agreement was presented to the neighborhood associations, I received concerns from one of the neighborhood associations. And this particular neighborhood association is incorporated. So they're within their incorporation agreement, their clause, or their constitution, which is legislated by the province, refers to the disbanding clause, where they state where any money that's left over in the neighborhood association would go to a particular place. But then the city, under the affiliation document, states that all the money must go to the city. So my question is staff looking into this for future affiliation agreements? Because there's a contradiction, right, in what they have in their constitution and what the city is asking of them in that particular clause.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Through the chair, we haven't been looking into this further. The neighborhood association in question, I don't know if it's the same neighborhood association, but at the time, I believe the board wasn't interested in pursuing it any further, so we didn't pursue it any further.
Okay, yes, that's what happened. I mean, the board in the end voted to affiliate, but I just thought because of the contradiction, maybe it's something that you could report back to us on at some point, or to me, maybe not to council, but.
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and any other questions on this item? I'm not seeing any. Councillor Chapman, if you want to go to the next item.
Yeah, 3.6, which has to do with the water report. I just noticed on page 20 of the report that there seemed to be a dramatic increase in low pressure complaints in 2024 over 2023 and 2022. So I just wondered how this is being addressed, because I do often receive complaints from residents about water pressure.
The water pressure complaints are internal issues, so it's water softeners a lot of times. So we investigate, we communicate with the homeowners, we tell them it's their issue, and they can address that at that time.
Okay.
In general,
Right.
those are most of them.
The other concern that is being raised by many people is the concern with the water supply with all of the new towers going up and water pressure in those towers as well. But I just wondered if you could comment on that.
Through the chair, anytime there's a new application, we look at the water supply and make sure that we can develop it within the pressures that are acceptable. And in addition, the region is looking at a water supply master plan. They just started that process, and we are involved in that process, but that'll be a 2-year project. But every development, we take a look to make sure that the system can supply.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions, so the consent items are moved by Councillor Ioannidis. Those in favor? And that carries unanimously. We will now move on to our discussion item, the New Dundee Road local improvement, and I believe Mr. Spear is going to kick it off for us. When you're ready.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon. So just to give some background on what this report is and what a local improvement is. So local improvements are a request for new or replacement municipal infrastructure, such as sanitary or water servicing. It is covered under the Municipal Act under Ontario Regulation 58606. The one in front of us right now was a resident-initiated and led local improvement. It will include sanitary sewer and water servicing for about 12 properties along New Dundee Road between Robert Ferry and Pinnacle Drive. A local improvement, such as this one, it has no cost to the city, with all costs of the project divided between the benefiting properties. Before proceeding with a local improvement, a petition was needed to determine support of the benefiting property owners, support from at least 2/3 of the property owners, representing half of the total assessed land value of the benefiting properties is needed to consider a petition to have passed. A passing petition means that all properties within the benefiting area are included in the project. This petition passed with 75% of the properties covering 84% of the assessed value in support. With the initial steps of the regulation now complete, with this bylaw, we'll move into the implementation stage. This will include incorporating a design into a Region of Waterloo contract. They are currently preparing for reconstruction of New Dundee Road. By including this work in the project, we see efficiencies in cost and time. The project, the construction, will happen throughout the 2025 construction season. Once the work is complete and we have our costs, an interim invoice will be issued to each of the properties. Should a property owner dispute this or feel that they should not be included or partially included in the local improvement, they at that time can appeal that through the Court of Revision. Once any appeals are heard, the final costs determined, we'll bring a special charge bylaw forward for council's consideration at that time.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Michaud, I see you're having questions. We're just going to hold off because you do have one delegation first, okay? Okay. And that delegation, Mr. Rob Kelly. Just a heads up, Mr. Kelly, so the way it works is you have 5 minutes to make your presentation. When there's about 30 seconds left, you'll hear a tone, and then you'll hear a final tone once your 5 minutes are up, and your microphone will be cut off shortly after that, okay? Just so you're prepared. Whenever you're ready. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Rob Kelly, and I live at 398 New Dundee Road and have for many years. I just signed up to say a few words in support of the petition, which I helped to get signed. For me, the sanitary line has been a long time coming. Originally, I spoke to people in the city of Kitchener, and they had indicated that the plan was to be installed by the fall of 2010. Sanitary lines, the deep sewer, went in since then, and that's to my west. To my east, there is also a sanitary line, and behind my property there's a sanitary line, but somehow our 730 meters just got overlooked somehow in the process. So we found that a little frustrating. But with our group working with the City of Kitchener, a plan emerged under local improvement guidelines, and there were two conditions which we satisfied. I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank everyone at the City of Kitchener that helped create this opportunity. I believe it's a win-win. For our group, we can proceed with property development plans. For the city, there's additional housing and increased property tax base. For the region, it clears up a little uncertainty about the extension on New Dundee Road. So that was all I had to say today, just a little update.
Are there any questions? For the delegate? For staff, okay. Councillor O'Dooney?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelly, for coming in. Just a quick question. You mentioned a group. How many people are actually part of this group?
12.
12 of you. Okay. Thank you.
There are no further questions. Thank you kindly for coming in and taking the time.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. So we'll now go to questions of staff. Councillor Michaud.
Thank you. I just received a letter, an email with regards to this project and the property at, on New Dundee Road, which is designated heritage. And I'm wondering why this didn't come to the Heritage Committee.
Mr. Spear.
It's 508 New Dundee, sorry.
Yeah, through the chair, we received the letter from 508 New Dundee protesting the project and asking to be excluded. The provincial regulations do not permit this, and the property already has water servicing. So this would be a good example of where a property can have a reduction in the overall costs. The sanitary sewer is not a heritage aspect, and as such, there's no detriment to the heritage impact on that property.
So you received the letter that I just got today? Is that,
We have copy of that letter, yes.
okay. I'd like to ask for a deferral on this so I could speak with Mr. Ornston or the family of this to have a little more discussion if possible.
Yeah, you're welcome to make that motion. Just in terms of clarity, I just double check with staff because since no one else is in the queue, just want to make sure I understand your response, Mr. Spears. So basically what you're saying is regardless of whether this goes ahead or not, it won't have any impact on the heritage property itself.
Not on the heritage property itself.
But will it have financial impact on the owner?
Potentially it could, yes.
And it's not being serviced because it's heritage, but he's going to have to pay for it anyways? Is that how that works?
Through the chair, the local improvement process doesn't consider the development potential of a property, but rather looks at the benefit to a property such as sanitary servicing. So with the heritage designation, yes, there is some limits on the development potential of that property, but it's not zero.
I would like a deferral, if I could get one, please.
Okay, thank you. And I'll just go to Mr. Reedman.
Through the chair, so I would just like to clarify a few other points. And so on December 2nd, 2024, staff brought forward staff report DSD 2024-518, seeking authorization to enter into this process. This process has been fast-tracked because we are looking to align the reconstruction work with the reconstruction of New Dundee Road. And so seeking a deferral of this would compromise the overall project schedule. And could potentially increase costs if we have to do this separate than the tender through the region's construction project.
Okay, Councillor Michaud, do you have a question on that?
Well, I guess in 2024, yes, that probably did come, but I'm looking at this report here now, and the date of the report is January 16th, and we're just seeing it today. So I don't know why we can't have a little bit of time to talk to to discuss with the owner of this property.
Mayor Rabinovich.
Thank you. And so I understand where Councillor Michaud is coming from, and the reality is this needs to come to council anyway. So I presume your request for the deferral is only for 2 weeks to when it comes to council, at which point it would.
1 week.
1 week.
Yeah.
That's as soon as it would be ratified anyway.
In a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if that's what the motion is, I'm certainly prepared to second it, and actually you don't need a seconder to support it.
Very good. There's no one else in the queue, so I will take that motion. So the motion is deferral of this item until next Monday's council. Those in favor? And opposed? That carries. And that also concludes Finance and Corporate Services Committee. So can I take a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councillor O'Dooney. Those in favor? Opposed? That carries. And I'm guessing about 5 minutes to switch system over, Madam Clerk? Okay.